Hey everyone, this is another simple video on how to use custom CSS in Glide. So in this video, I'm going to create icon collections. I've always wanted to have collections that look like this. Sometimes I don't have an image, I have an icon, the categories. And usually what I used to do is use a custom collection, but with CSS, it looks way better. So in this video, I'm going to go through two ways. One is updating the custom collection, like this first one. And the second one is updating or customizing a cards collection. So let's have a look. So the default thing or the classical way of creating icon cards is just use a custom collection, have a title component, and maybe put a separator under the title component with a line, and then the text, the button, or the body of the card. And it looks okay, but you can improve it with CSS. Hugely improve it. The image is too big, and maybe the title and the spacing maybe. So let's start by updating the title component. Just give this a class name. Let's say card title, and I want to try and make the image smaller and the text smaller. So in the custom CSS over here, I'll copy paste the CSS just to save time, and I'll explain it. So I said, please put a border bottom 2 pixels solid black under the title component and make the padding top and bottom 10 pixels and left and right 0 pixels, and then make the margin 0 pixels. Why? Because by default there's a 10 pixel margin on this component. And then I said for the image, put the boarding 2 pixels solid black and the width and height 50 pixels. So it's a square image small on the top left. And then I said for the text, which is an H2, and then card title H2. And the font weight is 100 and letter spacing is -1 pixels. So this one makes it thinner if you want to see the difference. You can play around with this 100, 200, 400 depending on the font. And the letter spacing -1 just puts the letters closer to each other. So yeah, we sort of have a good start now. Just I can remove the separator for one thing. But I want to design the entire card first before I go on to the body. So I give the custom collection a class name, and I say, let's say icons custom collection, and then let me highlight this section for you so you can see what's being done. So I'll copy paste it again. So I put a padding, top and bottom 50 pixels, 0 is unnecessary, and then a border and a background color and the maximum width of 90%, so that just you can see the left and the right side of the custom collection. And the last one is how you can center it. So margin 50 pixels top and bottom, and auto is what centers it in the screen. So this is the custom collection div, if you want to call it, or the element. And what you want to do is inside of this, you want to put a border around every card, and you do this by saying or adding this CSS. And so what this says is inside icons custom collection, whenever there's a div with a class that includes the string style div7, which is the one for the card, put a border 2 pixels around it. So we have this the collection nearly ready. I'm gonna remove the background color, the maximum width, and the border also. And now we want to style the text and the body and the button. So maybe in the text, I'm gonna give it a class and say black text before I define it, or before I write what it says. And the button, I say black button. And then in the custom CSS, it doesn't have to be under this or under the icons custom collection. I can just define a black text class here. And then what I say is it's gone to the bottom. And then what I say is color black. I forgot to put the p tag here. And so the text becomes black over here. And then the same thing for the button, say black button. So whenever I call this and background color black, and the button becomes black. And one cool thing is you can do is like say italic text. Font style italic. And then I can go back to the to the same component, the text component, and it has a class black text. I can say also give it the class italic text, and then it changes to italic, so you can add multiple classes. And this is I found this interesting and helpful. I think Glide uses it as well. So now we have a good looking icons collection made from a custom collection. So the icons collection looks good. The first one we created using a custom collection, but let's say you wanna let's say have a horizontal orientation, which you cannot do with the custom collection. It looks very good on a mobile. For this, we have to update a card collection. This is a card collection and it has a horizontal orientation. It doesn't matter what aspect ratio because we're gonna update the size of the image, and the size it just changes the number of cards on the screen. If you make the size larger, this is I chose the large size. So let's start by giving this a class, say CSS classes icon cards, and then I can start updating the custom CSS. Let's say give it a border first to see what we're gonna be editing, and a padding maybe. This is the card collection over here. And the first thing that you do anytime you want to update the custom CSS, I advise, is to check the different classes or the different divs. There's a hierarchy of divs inside every component. So you see a lot of lines here on the screen. It's because I still didn't add the number. Let's say style div 1 to, and you go through them all from 1 to like 12, 13, 14. Just make sure that, for example, the 4 is the cards. So this is where we're going to add the border on the cards. And then keep on going. Maybe 7 is the top section where the image is. 8 is the image. And 10 is the bottom section where the title and description are. It's useful to go through them all. I'm going to start with the style div 4. So every div that has a class style div 4 inside icon cards, I want to put a 2-pixel border, let's say white. I can remove the padding, but I have to be careful over here. Make sure you do that also. I'm gonna change the card orientation to vertical, and let's say page size 3, and you can see there's a border around the pages over here, the bottom section where the page numbers are. So make sure there's another condition you can put. So if I say style div 4 and there's a class with card collection card, only if this is true, then the border is 2-pixel wide. And if you see now, there's no more border around the bottom section. So I'm gonna go back and change it back to horizontal, and continue updating the CSS. So it's class card collection card. So this is updating only the cards. There's a few other sections you want to update. So it's the style div 8, style div 7, style div 10. You can see them here on the screen. So one is for the top section, one is for the bottom section. We want to remove the padding, update the image size. The one for the image is style div 8. So over here for the image, I can remove the border and the padding and just say I want a width 50 pixels, height 50 pixels. There goes the image on the top left corner. But the container here is style div 7, the one in yellow. This one has a padding and the minimum height defined by Glide. So I say padding 0 pixels. Minimum height, it's fine to be 50 pixels, same size as the image. And you see it goes up over here. And then I can update the bottom section also, and I can say make the padding 0 pixels. Or maybe I want to make it 0 pixels top and bottom, 10 pixels left and right, just to push it under the icon exactly. I can remove the border here. Yeah, there we go. Let's just remove the border and the padding on the component. So the only thing remaining is to update the title and the description. Or I can also do this. I'm gonna copy this one and say when on hover, if the mouse is over this section, make the border a different color. And then let's add the CSS to update the text, the title, and the description. So the title is an H3, and I said make the font size 1.4. The padding 0 pixels, the letter spacing -1 to put the letters closer to each other, and the font weight just make it bold 700. And then for the P tag, I said just change the padding top to 10 pixels, just put a little bit of padding, and in the bottom, and the font size change and the letter spacing. You can choose whatever you want. Let's say 0 pixels. One last thing that I want to change is, if you see here, I don't like this um, scroll bar. So if you add this CSS and put the scroll bar to width 0, then we no longer can see the scroll bar. So we have an icons collection, which looks really good on a mobile screen. You can decrease the size if you want to show more cards on the screen. Yeah, give it a try.